Hey there folks, Mike Seeklander back with Wilson Combat, and I wanted to show you the 4 most common mistakes I see on the range or in classes when building a good handgun grip. If you're making all 4 of these mistakes and you fix all 4, you're going to make a dramatic improvement in your speed and accuracy with your handgun. If you're making just one of the mistakes, that's also going to help you a bunch. Mistake number 1 is a too low of a strong hand grip. When I say strong hand, if you're a right-handed shooter, your right hand is your strong hand. So oftentimes what I see on the range is shooters that have a low grip on the handgun, and it may look like I have a pretty decent grip, but if you look very, very closely, you can see there's a small gap between the beaver tail or the tang of the firearm and the web of my hand. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take your firearm, make sure it's unloaded, and I want you to take your strong hand and I want you to shove it high up the back strap of the handgun. Now, if you have a high grip on the handgun, the proper grip on the handgun, you're gonna feel pressure between the web of your hand in this tang or beaver tail area. The second place you should feel pressure with a good strong hand grip is between the trigger guard and your middle knuckle. If you don't feel some pressure in those 2 spots, you probably don't have as high a grip as you need to with your strong hand. Now, last but not least, in terms of the strong hand grip, if my strong hand thumb is too low on the handgun, right? Even if you're not riding a safety like I would with a 1911, but it's too low, that's gonna push my support hand down low. But this nice high grip with the thumb up in the air, relaxing this muscle that will facilitate a good support hand grip is the key. Keep in mind, if you have a low grip with your strong hand, let me lower my grip, and a low thumb position with your strong hand, that's gonna place your second hand a little lower on the handgun itself. Of course, in mistake number 2, I'll be talking about the support hand placement. But for now, I want you to work on getting the strong hand in the right place. Once again, take that hand, drive it up the back strap, make sure you feel pressure between the web of your hand and your middle knuckle. This is a proper and a nice high grip with your strong hands. So if you get a proper strong hand grip, I will promise you that this grip versus this grip will make a big difference. And oftentimes I will literally see a strong hand grip that is so low where there's a small gap between this area. There's a gap in that area. Remember, that's where the recoil is going to go when the gun moves. So that's mistake number 1. Get the strong hand as high as it needs to be or can be on the handgun grip. So let's talk about mistake number 2 now. Key mistake number 2 is where we place our support hand on the handgun, and oftentimes it's a result of the key mistake number 1, where we're taking this thumb and we're pushing it down, for example. So if I have this thumb low or my strong hand is low, this will naturally push my support hand down on the gun. If you look at both of my hands, my support hand is very, very low. So tip number 2 is get your support hand in the right place, but to get your support hand in the right place, of course, you have to have your strong hand in the right place first. So let's go ahead and place my strong hand in the right place. I'll put the safety back on. Thumb is flagged and out of the way. The reason I have this thumb up is because I want to relax this thumb muscle just for a moment in time so I can get my support hand onto the gun properly. Now I'm going to index by touching under the trigger guard, and then I'm going to lay the support hand into position where the palm of my hand is in contact with the left rear quarter panel. Now I understand I can't get my support hand completely in contact, but I want more pressure on the rear part of the grip if possible. So I'm going to take my palm and I'm going to lay it into position in that spot. Now, when I have the proper support hand placement, if you notice the position of my thumb in relation to the slide frame line, my thumb is just below the slide frame line. But let me give you the last little key to your support hand grip, something I do not want you to do, and I see this all of the time on videos on the internet. I do not want you to take your support hand and rotate it forward in an effort to line your thumb up with your wrist or some sort of, false goal. Because by taking your palm of your hand and rotating it forward, right, this is going to pull the palm of your hand away from the key pressure area that we're trying to get on the back of the gun. Because when I'm gripping the handgun, I'm clamping the back of the gun, okay? So you have tip number one, you get your strong hand in the right spot, nice and high on the handgun. Tip number two, put your support hand by indexing under the trigger guard into the right spot so you can clamp the back of the handgun with your palms of your hands. And do not rotate that left hand too far forward, okay? Tip number three is all in these three fingers, and it's actually probably the most common mistake I see on the range during live fire shooting, and that is while gripping the handgun, we're applying pressure with the three fingers as we're firing the gun. Now, I don't have my second hand in place so you can see what's going on, but the point is, anytime I'm increasing the pressure on the handgun with my three fingers as I'm pulling the trigger, I'm gonna be moving the gun. I mean, you can literally see the muzzle of the gun move when I'm gripping with these three fingers. So I want you to remember, in terms of mistake number three, I want you to grip and then pull. So grip with these three supporting fingers and then pull the trigger. So grip with the supporting fingers and then you maintain a high level of pressure in this hand and then pull. So when I put two hands together and form that perfect grip, as I'm firing the gun, I'm gripping and then I'm pulling the trigger. I'm not gripping and pulling the trigger. And last but not least, a very common mistake is under gripping the handgun. If I had to guess, I would guess that 90%, 95% of my students or more are under gripping the handgun. And that literally means once you form the proper grip, right? Step number one, get the strong hand in place. Step number two, get the support hand in place. Step number three, maintain that three finger pressure. When you grip the gun, I want you to take your hands and I want you to grip it as hard as you can without a tremor. You are under gripping the handgun in most cases. Matter of fact, go to the range, load some live ammo, fire around, watch how the gun recoils, and then grip really hard and fire around and watch the difference. And one more key tip for you, when you're gripping the gun hard, I'm not just locking my fingers down, but I'm clamping the back of the gun. I'm applying as much pressure as I can with the palms on the back of the gun, and I'm counter-rotating those hands so they're applying pressure there. That pressure will dramatically reduce how much the gun flips during recoil, okay? So there you have it. The four most common mistakes I see on building the perfect handgun grip. If you're making any of those mistakes, you can correct those. And if you're making two or three of those mistakes, just by fixing those, you're gonna have a dramatic improvement in both your speed and your accuracy with your handgun. Don't forget, these are the four most common mistakes I see. Number one, get that strong hand nice and high on the handgun in the right place. If you do that, number two, you'll be able to get your support hand in the right place. And whatever you do, don't rotate that support hand off of the back area of the handgun. Don't try to point the thumb forward for some reason that doesn't make any sense. Number three, make sure you're not moving the gun with the supporting fingers. Grip and then pull. And last but not least, make sure you grip the gun really hard. Grip the gun really hard with both hands, drive the palms in, and see what kind of results you get. And I want to remind you, we're paying attention to what you have to say. If you have a question or comment, please post it down below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please make sure you subscribe. If you like this kind of content, say, hey, Mike, I love this, or Mike, I don't love this, I want something else. But if you have a question, please make sure to post it down there. And I promise you, we're watching those comments and I will give you a personal reply.